Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanine. So a lot of times we cover articles here on the channel, but we also do a lot of PDFs. Now, when it comes to Fabio Panetta, all right, member of the executive board of the European Central Bank, he has been making the rounds a lot lately. You want to keep up with what they're saying from the European Central Bank if you're interested in Ripple backing a digital euro in the future, which is massive money. We definitely want to take that money off the table. 100%. If we can get the United States, right, utilizing us as a liquidity provider, if we can get the European Central Bank utilizing us as a liquidity provider or a bridge currency, however you want to do it, it really doesn't make a difference. That price is going to raise. It's going to raise. So we definitely want to keep abreast and stay privy of what's going on with that particular aspect of the monetary system. It is a major aspect. So Fabio Panetta has been everywhere lately. We've covered him a bevy of times in the members only section. We're going to cover him today. And one dangerous thing about Fabio Panetta, in my humble opinion, is the fact that at times he seems extremely accepting of the reality of the new financial system, right? But then at other times he can seem quite bearish. There is this inflow and outflow, this rhythmic back and forth of the pendulum of balance when it comes to him. So, and I understand, let me just say this. I understand that he is a representative of the system, but we have to keep an eye on what's going on. There seems to be, if he's a representative of the system, I understand that he represents a body, okay? A group of individuals when he speaks, which means, in my opinion, that because of this back and forth, it's not necessarily just his viewpoint. Obviously, he's going to mix a little bit of his own personal ideas in there. But there is an internal battle going on within the European Central Bank, in my humble opinion. This is what it seems, which is why we get so many extreme swings from Fabio Panetta when he speaks. One minute he's bullish, one minute he's bearish on the acceptance of the new financial system. That's why we're going to cover this today. Okay, let's get into this here. So this speech is titled, "For a Few Cryptos More, the Wild West of Crypto Finance." All right. Now, before we get into this, I want to say this is why we need regulatory clarity. We need those scam coins, meme coins, if they're scam coins. We need those, anything that's not serious and is harmful to the people. We need the rug pulls to go away so that individuals like this cannot use that as a weapon against the compliant coins, the compliant technology, the compliant crypto that could make us all generationally wealthy. Okay. We don't need anything holding it back. So we need to eradicate those things, hopefully as quickly as possible. And I understand a lot of people make a lot of money. That's completely fine. I understand that, but it's holding back a massive wall of capital that we want to come into crypto. Beautiful capital. And it has not stepped in because of things like this. But anyway, I have to say that because of the title, The Wild West of Crypto Finance. But that's what this speech is called. Let's continue on here. So we're going to scroll down here. I'm also going to post this document in the community section. So if you scroll down your homepage, you'll probably see it. If not, you can go to my my actual YouTube channel, click on that little community section, scroll down. You're going to see the posted link there. Just give me like an hour or two. Okay. This section here is titled "The Rise of Crypto Assets." Now let's read a little bit here. It says, "Let me start with the underlying drivers of crypto assets. At their root, crypto assets are the result of advances in cryptographic methods and distributed ledger technology. Innovation has made it possible to create an asset that lacks any underlying claim. In the initial setup of what we today call unbacked crypto assets." There's something I was going to say, but I think once you heard that, a lot of people had thoughts on another PDF that we covered. Today we call unbacked crypto assets. Nobody is liable, nor are these assets backed by any collateral or managed by a trustworthy operator. That's not true. You have collateralized coins being used everywhere. All right. So I don't know who briefed you, sir, but you are wrong about that. You have collateralized coins, and there is a lot on the line. They're backed by value that is derived from something else. No different than, I mean, it's actually better than your fiat currency. Your fiat currency is backed by nothing. But even when you're using an asset to back something up, like gold, is still an agreed upon value. Let's go here. This makes, and I know there's a variety of factors, but understand that variety of factors could be altered at any time. All right. And a lot of those factors, when you're talking about something like the agreed upon value of gold, those factors can be altered based upon the opinions and feelings of those involved. So like, let's take it, for example, gold mining. You do know that gold mining could happen in a lot of other places, right? But it's because of this consensus that, let's say, and I'm just using it as an example, well, it's bad to mine gold here, but it's okay to mine gold there. All of these different things like that for a variety of reasons, right? But even taking that into account, if you wanted to mine gold everywhere, maybe it wouldn't be so rare. Correct me if I'm wrong. As rare as it is, which then would change the estimation upon of the agreed upon value. Correct? I think that's logical. I think that's logical, right? It's the same thing with everything else. It's just a matter of how much energy you want to put in there, how much what opinions are swaying the decision making behind putting certain energies in certain places. So what I'm trying to do, and let's circle back around here, is say that all of this is agreed upon value. But you're using this particular argument, I believe, against people who may not have the time to do that type of research and have that type of understanding. And so you can sway them easily to say that, well, crypto, is unbacked, and which is not true, not all of it, but there's different types of cryptocurrencies, but you're not addressing them. You're using this blanketed way of thinking to sway the crowd who doesn't really have enough time to sit in briefings. They don't have people to brief them like you do. And they're easily swayed with that type of mentioning because they already have a preconceived notion about crypto. Let's go here. In the initial set of what we call today unbacked crypto assets, nobody's liable. We read that part. This makes them purely speculative in nature and hence highly volatile. Is that so? Just purely speculative. There's none with utility. So there is no XRP with utility in use cases. There is no XLM with utility in use cases. There is no VeChain that's being used everywhere. VeChain is being mass adopted as we speak. And it doesn't mean that the price has shot up or anything like that. No, but they're setting up infrastructure everywhere. That is adoption. Now you're talking about what you're talking about when you say mass adoption and you congeal that with the thought of a price exploding. What you're talking about is actually mass actuation. They haven't actuated the actual the fullness of its functionality just yet, the fullness of its utility, but the infrastructure is being set up and you have all these companies around the world using VeChain. But anyway, that's just another example of a utility coin. It's not speculative. It actually does something. They're tracking things all over the place. Algorand has utility, right? So does Algorand not exist? Did they not use Algorand to track and use and as a traceability protocol in Latin America for the redacted thing, right? You wanted to know where all those tests were going and coming from and going to, and what did they use to track that? They used Algorand, all right? I think they used that via Coinbanks, actually. Coinbanks uses Algorand in a myriad of ways in Latin America, not just for governmental and bank infrastructures, although they're doing well with that also. So do none of these utility coins exist? It's not speculative. There's people putting their capital behind something that they see is going to be used in mass later on. But I mean, I guess you're just not going to cover that. It says this makes them purely speculative in nature and hence highly volatile. Let's continue on here. There's so much I can say. There really is. To address the risk of unbacked cryptos, stablecoins have emerged. Is that so? So there's risk involved with unbacked crypto, but stablecoins have emerged as the hero. Is that so? You haven't read the documents from or have been briefed by the Bank of International Settlements. I know you have. You haven't read the documents by the IMF. All of these concerns, they released at least 7 different PDFs recently, all covering the fear that stablecoins don't solve any problem whatsoever. It keeps them in the game, but there can be a run on stablecoins the same way that there can be a run on cash. Everyone pulls their stablecoins out. Where's your liquidity? Where's your liquidity? You're talking about the risk. You're talking about volatility. I think bank runs right now are the biggest risk to your system. Correct me if I'm wrong. Bank runs and you getting hacked, which is happening all the time, by the way, and you haven't remedied that at all, is a bigger threat to the financial system than volatility of crypto could ever be. Oh man, some of this is laughable, but they do all this mental gymnastics and, you know, this air of superiority that they have above most people. Most people will just bow down and accept what they're given, what they're told. But I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. And maybe I'm wrong. I could be completely wrong. I'm always willing to learn. But this is where I stand right now. And I understand also, we're going to continue on. Don't worry, we have a lot to cover. But I understand this is a war. If you want generational wealth, you're going to have to fight for it. You can't be given, you can't be fed by the enemy. You can't just be given information and just accept it. No, you have to do your own research because they could be swaying you away from what the truth is. And the truth could lead you closer to that generational wealth. The truth makes the difference between people selling their XRP, XLM, and Algorand and them believing something that they're told, being swayed and selling that only for the price to at some point explode. And then you won't be able to get back in, possibly. So these are mental weapons that we are sifting through here. This is a war. It's a war of the mind, a war of words, and a war that has been waged by an old and ailing system that does not want a new system to rise, an old legacy system money that does not want new holders, new people, new money to rise. If everything went according to plan, there's no guarantees. I don't even need it. Who cares? I don't need a guarantee. I know what I read. They don't want you to rise. They don't want to relinquish their power and control because you will have the new power. You will have the control. You will be able to say how the world is, how you want the world to be and buy companies, buy up companies and change the landscape of things because of the companies that you bought. The possibilities are endless. The possibilities are endless. And they need to choke out that flame before it grows into a blaze. You understand what I'm saying here? So I'm always very careful when I read these things. Now, maybe, as I said, he's been back and forth. The pendulum of rhythm has swung back and forth with this individual. So maybe later he'll probably more than likely, based upon his prior habits, will probably say something else. But let's continue on here. Okay, just hopefully I'm conveying these things clearly and everybody's still with me here. We have a lot to cover. I have a lot of thoughts. Appreciate you listening to them. It says, in fact, they can be, let's rewind a little bit. To address the risk of unbacked cryptos, stablecoins have emerged. They emerged to address the risk of unbacked cryptos? Are you certain about that? They're just a complementary or an additional piece of the crypto system, which was out of necessity of people wanting to move their gains into something, in my humble opinion, move their gains into something where it's still crypto and they still have their anonymity and power and control. They can have their stable coins in their cold wallet, air gapped, hopefully, to protect your stuff in a safe, protect your stuff, without having to actually move it into fiat currency, which is not good. All right. So that's why they emerged. I mean, but you're painting this picture here. Let's continue on. With their value linked to one or more low risk assets. Low risk? All right. So people are using, as an example, USDC. USDC is pegged to the US dollar, correct? Right? Okay, correct. 1-to-1. They hold it 1-to-1, right? So the value of USDC is pegged to the dollar, which means that right now in the world where you have every brilliant mind, not every brilliant mind, but most of the brilliant minds, you get what I'm trying to convey, saying that the dollar is in jeopardy. The dollar is in jeopardy. That it's a house of cards, and that at any time, if any of these other world powers come out with a actual backed currency, the dollar's value would plunge. How is that not risky, sir? How is that not risky? It says, in fact, they can be low risk, but not riskless. Okay, well, that's more reasonable. I appreciate you saying that, sir. And cannot guarantee redeemability at par at any time. That's not true as well. You're spitting. Look at how he's delivering all of these untruths. USDC is back 1-to-1. If you want that dollar that you put in, you get it back. Correct? This is what USDC says. It's back 1-to-1. It is a compliant stablecoin. It's not like Tether. They haven't had any problems like Tether. They remedied that by having everything back 1-to-1. So how can you say that? I mean, if you're going to specify, you're trying to talk about something like Tether as an example, sure, where they have a lot of what they have, the value that they have is collateralized. Allegedly, this is what they say. So you can't corroborate everything that they claim that they have. Meanwhile, they're printing Tether like they're the Fed, like the Fed prints dollars. So, I mean, if you're talking about that, sure, but specify that, in my humble opinion, you're speaking to some of the most powerful minds possible and into the foreseeable future when you're making these various speeches, because you've made myriad speeches of everywhere, right? So when you're saying that, I'd like a little bit more air of truth, because I'm definitely going to come out and speak my mind and put it out there. See, now, what happens with these speeches, you're not able to be corrected. But I don't mind anyone correcting me if I say something incorrect or wrong or whatever, but at least we're starting to think. At least we're doing our own research at that particular time, which puts the power in the hands of who? See, you're trying to control the minds of the people. Mostly the people that are in those briefings, in those meetings, and listening to your speeches. You're trying to control the narrative and control their minds. I'm not seeking anything. I'm trying to free the people. They can do their own research and come up with their own conclusion. That's much better. That's much better. But what you're doing here, you're telling untruths, and you're swaying their minds into something that is wrong, into thinking something that is wrong. Let's continue on here. It says, where did we leave off? You guys distracted me. You let me forget. You let me forget where we were. It says, in fact, they can be low risk but not riskless and cannot guarantee redeemability at par at any time. Okay. That's not true about USDC, but okay. They are therefore vulnerable to runs. They're vulnerable to runs. Thank you. I'm glad you said that. You just verified what I was saying before. They are vulnerable to runs because of their essential flaw. What is their essential flaw, sir? Their essential flaw is the fact that they're even deriving value from fiat currency in the first place. Government central bank issued fiat currencies. So they're pegged to the US dollar. They're pegged to the euro. That's why. So they're deriving their value from a cash, which cash, based upon your system that you've been using for so many years, is supposed to be so riskless, right? So safe, has been vulnerable to runs this entire time. People could not get their money out in New Zealand when they got hacked. They had bank runs because of the hacks. They got hacked, everything shut down. They had security issues. Things got shut down in those particular regions, right? This is last year, 2021. I showed people on this channel those documents. The people for months couldn't get their money out. So in fear, when they could, they all ran to the bank and took out paper tender, cash, whatever you want to call it. Right? Then you had the similar thing happen in Canada for whatever their reasons were. You had bank runs happening there. You have bank runs happen in the United States with the cash. All right? When when that happened, they had bank runs in the United States. Right? So that is their inherent flaw. And that's why they are vulnerable to runs, because of that inherent flaw of being pegged to cash, which is a flawed way or method of currency, not because of the cash itself, but because of the banking system and how your types of leadership, central banks, the Fed, which they consider a central bank, in the United States, and all of these supervisory bodies, because of how you have wielded it, you have been irresponsible. You have been irresponsible. And that's why the system now, you are in fear of your continuity of existence as far as being a supervisory entity, because you know that flaw is about to be exposed majorly when the new financial system is up and running. And that's another thing about the SEC case. Oh, it's so powerful. You have no idea, people out there, how important this SEC case is. When Ripple has that regulatory clarity, all of the bank coins will begin. Now, I won't say the price will take off. Let's not talk about price right now. They will begin to expand rapidly into these so-called developed countries' monetary systems. And then you're going to see a lot of effects come out of that cause, because they will begin to take over massive sectors. There's some documents I'm about to go over in the members only section. Either today or tomorrow, I'm about to release this video. It's going to confirm what I'm telling you right now. They see the writing on the wall. The new financial system is coming. They are afraid. This is not an exaggeration. They are telling you in their PDFs. Okay? I'm trying to ring the alarm. Now, who's to know what's going to come out of this? Who's to know where it all ends up? But I know what's occurring. And they are acting against it now, at least mentally, behind the scenes, trying to delay things. Listen, there's a reason why that SEC case got pushed back to next year. Has the SEC won anything significant yet? Ripple has been having so many victories. Why push it back? Think about that for a moment. But if you're a company that knows that you're about to take over, if you're a company that understands that what your victory is inevitable, your rise to power is going to be like nothing ever seen before, sure, let's wait another year. Who cares, right? You may have that attitude because you already won, essentially. The fact that the SEC hasn't defeated Ripple yet is already a victory in itself. Let's continue on here, okay? All of this has to do with Ripple, the liquidity provider, stable coins. They need liquidity. They can be, the vulnerability to their runs can be negated while cash cannot be because of the debts that the country have, because of the mismanagement of the funds that countries and governments have been doing over such a long period of time because of their monetary policies. So they can't remedy that problem. This is why they don't have a solution till this day. But stable coins are different. Stable coins can be propped up, or the gap can be filled with liquidity providers. So, as Stellar put it, XLM can be used to provide liquidity for otherwise illiquid assets. So, when it comes to stablecoins, anytime there's a problem, if there ever is a problem with liquidity, you can always have that liquidity provider. Boom. On standby, it immediately fills the gap because they have the superior technology. This is what they fear. There is a superior system on the rise. Let's continue on here. There's so much more. It says, they are often purely speculative assets exposed to high financial and operational risks. Research finds that 1/3 of stablecoins launched in recent years have not survived. Why even address those? Let's talk about the ones that are at the forefront. The same way that when we talk about the banking system, we don't talk about the ailing banks that failed. We talk about central banks and commercial banks that are at the forefront because that's where everybody is going to go. But many times I notice that individuals that are at the heads of these companies speak to the people as though they're idiots, as though the people are going to choose the worst and not the best. When in that same mind, right? These people expect them to choose the best commercial banks and the central banks, and we're so safe when they know that there's banks that are terrible out there. They're hemorrhaging money and they're doing a horrible job and they're getting hacked and people's information is getting stolen. These are facts. So just see that contradiction there and keep that in mind when these individuals speak this way. It says, in spite of that weakness, the number of crypto assets has expanded significantly with around 10,000 available on the market today. Most of those will go away with regulatory clarity because they're non-compliant. And a lot of them are scam coins and rug pulls, but this is no different than any new technology that rises. There's always going to be these particular things in the early stages, and then they get weeded out. Okay, that's called shearing things up. You make sure things get better. Driving this growth is a complex and opaque crypto ecosystem made up of cryptocurrency miners and service providers, such as exchanges or wallets, that are largely unregulated and insufficiently supervised. You sure you want to use that term? Or overseen. There's a lot I would say. Let's continue on. Within that market is a fast growing segment. Sorry, my screen went haywire for a moment there. Within that market is a fast-growing segment of decentralized finance. Now they're getting to what they fear. Here we go. Which uses smart contracts to support trading, lending, and investment in crypto assets, supposedly without relying on intermediaries. You see how he said that? Supposedly without relying on intermediaries. Remember, the Bank of International Settlements put out that PDF where they were talking about the possibility of controlling liquidity pools they were talking about the probability of being able to control liquidity pools by being the largest contributor to that liquidity pool. They had all of these ways of possibly showing that DeFi is not actually decentralized, and which shows me that they're working on a strategy to be able to control DeFi. Not only that, then they came out with PDFs later on saying how they wanted to they were considering the possibility that central bank money, we covered that recently, that central bank money could be at the core of DeFi. They're even floating that idea. So they're, based upon their own words, it seems that they're trying to initiate an entire DeFi takeover. They try to take over the things that they fear, the things that actually have power that could disrupt disrupt their financial ecosystem, their financial systems. All right, but let's continue on here. This supply of crypto assets has been met with strong demand from both professional investors and the public. In 2021, around 16% of Americans and 10% of Europeans invested in crypto assets. This strong appeal of crypto assets, especially unbacked ones, he likes to highlight that, is a cause for concern. Given the lack of fundamentals. I guess you have an argument. Like I say, you need to specify. There are compliant coins, right? But he doesn't say that. So he leads you to believe that all of crypto has a lack of fundamentals. There are so many use cases for XRP. There's so many use cases for XLM. You have respected companies utilizing them, and they wouldn't do that if the facts were otherwise. So many use cases for Algorand. Have you seen their ecosystem partner diagram? It is unbelievable. If you think Algorand is not going to explode, I don't know what to tell you. That's ridiculous. All it takes is regulatory clarity and boom, that's all it takes. All this points to unsound underlying market dynamics. For one thing, the market is highly concentrated. Oh my goodness. You do know that there is... Who controls the market when it comes to Bitcoin and things like that, and these so-called whales, and then you have all of these bankers and legacy system money that doesn't want crypto to move forward so exponentially fast. Then you watch the charts, correct? You watch the charts, and then you see how everything is tethered, no pun intended, and no reference to the stablecoin. Of course, everything is tethered to Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes down, everything goes down. When Bitcoin goes up, controlled by bots. People, whoever the big money is, the so-called whales, right? Using bots to make sure that when Bitcoin goes down, everything goes down. When Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up, using it as a control mechanism. So that's why you're able to say this. And let me tell you something. I'm pretty solid on believing that it's the legacy system doing that to hold crypto back. Brad Garlinghouse just spoke on this. He just spoke on this, how Bitcoin is used as a control mechanism, how the focus on just simply Bitcoin and Ethereum is holding back the crypto markets. And that has a lot to do with the media. Who controls the media? They don't just say their own thoughts in the media. They are told what to say. Okay, now they get sponsorship money behind, and they do deals behind the scenes, correct? Where's that money coming from? Because it's not coming from normal people. So that means that whoever's giving that money most of the time is legacy system members that are the lobbyists. Legacy system members are the biggest lobbyists, the biggest sponsors, right? That's who's moving it. So it's not the people who are using, the ones who really support cryptocurrencies, like the people on the ground. It's not them that is making it all that way. It is your people, the legacy system, that is doing it. But you're painting it as though it's just a free market, and the people are allowing it to be sort of centralized, but it's allowing it to be concentrated. Sorry about that. Let's continue on. For one thing, the market is highly concentrated. For example, retail investors holding less than 10 Bitcoins. I knew you were going to say, see, you went right to the Bitcoin. I knew it. Less than 10 Bitcoins own 1/10 of Bitcoin supply. Oh, really? Continue to expose yourself, sir. While professional investors and high net worth individuals hold almost 2/3. Didn't I just say this? Legacy system. Vested interests of large investors naturally lead to increasing lobbying activities. I just said this, didn't I? I told you. Listen, we've done our research on this channel. We know what we're talking about. Confirmed. In the United States, for example, crypto firms spent around USD $5 million lobbying the Senate in the first 9 months of 2021 alone. That's unbelievable. But it confirms. It said crypto firms, like as if those weren't companies started by legacy system members and such like that, or bought out by legacy system members, now controlled under the guise that they are a crypto firm. So they're a crypto firm, but what you're making it sound like when you're saying these things is that they were like they've always been crypto firms. Their best interest is in crypto. I don't know. There's thoughts that I'm having that I'm having a hard time conveying right now. I have so many of them, but that's the way he's making it seem, that these aren't legacy system actors. That's what they are. They are actors on behalf of the legacy system. Look at who they provide services to. It's not to the commoner, but let's continue on. Rising prices are fueled by extensive news reports. Didn't I just say that? They're controlled by the news. Who controls the news, sir? The legacy system. You know this. You're not going to win this game of chess. And I'm not saying this because of myself. No, there's many brilliant minds in crypto right now. And we're fighting this war against your legacy system. We're coming for your money, the bank money, and we shall have it. We shall have the victory. There's people that are extremely brilliant, much more brilliant than myself. I'll eat a piece of humble pie. It doesn't matter. I don't care about that. I know the outcome. I want the victory. We're all so in my humble opinion, we're all on the same team fighting against you, whether it's Bitcoin, XRP. I'm not a maximalist at all. Make your money where you can with a compliant coin so you can protect your money. But we all need crypto as a whole to win for us to see what it is that we want to see into the future. But we will have this victory, sir. So you're not going to win this mental war. I see what you're doing here. Right. Let's continue on here. It says rising prices are fueled by extensive news reports and investment advice on social media. There's something I could say about that because I see certain things and it's not the way that they make it seem. It's not the way that they make it seem. But although I do know the legacy system watches, everybody who does crypto videos knows this, that the legacy system watches. There's a reason I say that. They know. So the legacy system watches what the social media influencers say, and then they may act in conjunction with what they say to make it appear as though the social media influencers have more power than what they actually have. Do you follow what I am saying? And I'll leave it at that. Let's continue on here. Wow, he's getting very bearish as opposed to the last couple of speeches that he made. Holy smokes, this is negative. But let's just read this little tidbit. Let's continue on. We've gone this far. Rising prices fuel. Okay, we read that part. Highlighting past price increases and features such as artificial scarcity. Okay, artificial scarcity. I mean, I guess you could phrase it that way. I find that a very negative phrasing. You're talking about burning. So let's just clarify this, right? So let's say, like, for instance, Shiba Inu, they're doing a huge burn and they're trying to burn things. You do understand that once they burn that value no longer exists. But where did they derive that value from? They derived that value from dollars. People are buying, let's say in the US, as an example, they're buying SHIB with US dollars. So they put in $1, they buy $1 worth of SHIB. If they choose to burn that value, which means that value no longer exists. It no longer exists. It was true value based upon your US dollar, correct? You want us to take it serious based upon your US dollar, correct? So the dollar is the dollar and it derives a certain value versus the euro and the yuan and things like that, right? Okay, so now you're saying that that's legitimate. If that US dollar value is legitimate, then when I take that same value and put into SHIB, what is the difference? It should still be legitimate. So if I choose to burn that SHIB and lose that value, that's my personal choice. So although it's artificial to make it sound negative as though it's not legitimate, it is legitimate. They are burning that value. I just think that you have a problem with that. So anyway, I mean, there's a lot of other variables that we could discuss, but we're just going to leave it there for a moment. Artificial scarcity to create the fear of missing out. Not create the fear of missing out. Actually, by burning that value, what they're doing is creating a higher value outright. There's no fear of missing out. This seems like an opinionated thing to say and inaccurate. What they're doing is they're creating actual scarcity of the value by, it's sort of like if someone could take $1 and then cut it in half, is, like there's only $1 in the world, right? And then they cut it in half, that value is going to shoot up because the people still want that dollar. And now in agreement, the dollar is now worth half of what it was. So it's worth 50 cents or whatever. Let's just pretend like quarters and all of these coins don't exist, right? The actual physical coins don't exist. Then it would be worth like 50% of what it was, but people are still going to use it. That's sort of what like crypto is doing. There's like a jealousy aspect here. There's a lot of fear in this. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I could be completely wrong, right? And people in the comment section definitely will correct me. It says, as a result, many invest without understanding what they are buying. So now you're operating under the assumption that the majority of people in crypto are ignorant or something like that, when that may not be the case. Where's your research to back that up? I do see you have a number here. I probably could click on it and see something a little bit more. But let's say, for instance, there was a poll that they did on the XRP holders, and it showed that XRP holders, this is what the poll said, are no, they did it on, I think they did it on all of crypto. And they found that it seems that XRP holders were some of the most intelligent holders of cryptocurrencies, right? So, I mean, that kind of goes against what you're saying here, that most people don't understand what they are buying. Then let's end here, right? Because this gets really like negative. It says, like in a Ponzi scheme. Wow. Okay. Such dynamics can only continue as long as a growing number of investors believe that prices will continue to increase and that there can be fiat. Let me stop right there. With the utility coins, it doesn't matter if people put in or not. This is the utility coins value is really based upon actual usage, right? And then also being adopted by institutions, where I think a lot of the smart money is going to be going in the future is into utility coins because of that. So companies will have to use VeChain if they want that traceability aspect. VeChain, Cardano traceability. Algorand has also been shown to be possibly used for traceability. That's an actual function. All right, moving around a payroll, sending cross-border remittances back and forth between a business, B2B, cross-border payments market, interbank payments, liquidity, providing liquidity for large financial institutions. That is where the value of these utility coins are going to come from. But I don't understand what the point of taking this line of speaking is when regulation is on the horizon. The SEC, as an example, has said that they view most of crypto as a security. You do know that once regulation comes down, most of crypto is going to go away. All that 10,000 coins that you use to dazzle the people's minds. Oh my gosh, 10,000 coins will go away and disappear. It is always this way when you have a new technology. All the nonsensical aspects of that new technology tend to go away with regulation. So, then we have to take a look at what's left. What will be left are the compliant utility coins. And those won't be deriving their value just based upon investors wanting to put their money in. Matter of fact, a lot of utility coins, people will be priced out of them, but they're going to be used by large business institutions, which is what they were designed for. Well, most of them, because you do have retail coins. But because of that necessity to use them, let's say like XRP for their liquidity, that price will shoot up because of that. It has nothing to do with retail. Very, very little to do with retail. All right, you understand? So I just look at it differently. That it says until the enthusiasm vanishes and the bubble bursts. It's not. I don't look at it as a bubble because bubbles bursting are seemingly random. Correct? I mean, maybe you say no, you could pop a bubble. He said bubble bursts. So he didn't say someone's going to pop the bubble. But what we're looking at with crypto, when we're talking about, and I am taking into account all the scam coins and what do you call that, like rug pulls and such like that. When regulation comes down, it's not a bubble just bursting, like it just existed and it burst randomly. No, literally, it's going to be erased. It's going to be popped. And that is going to go away. And that's necessary. And I think a lot of people in crypto already know that. They already know that. So there is so much more to this to this document. Oh man, should we come back and do another video? A lot of people, they like the regular videos better, it seems. These heavy informational videos, people don't tend to take too kindly to them. This has everything to do with XRP, Ripple, as they are in Europe. They are a part of the Digital Euro Association. This shows you why it's so important that they remain active. They have to continue to give the people at the European Central Bank briefings, continue to connect with the commercial banks out there. We need Ripple to really do its job. We know Stellar's over there also. We need Stellar to continue to do their job. Okay, your Ripple is also a part of the Digital Pound Association. We need them to work hard, be very, very intellectual, be wise in what they say and what they do for all of this go off without a hitch, because we hear what they're saying and there seems to be an internal struggle. We need Ripple to sway the balance. If they can sway the balance, we shall have a great victory. And then if we have that great victory, everything goes according to plan. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. If we can have that, then that price of XRP will explode. All the other bank coins, in my humble opinion, their prices also will rise. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I'm going to try to get this members only video out by tomorrow morning, because just seeing how long I took in this video with this one document, and we didn't even cover the entirety of it, I really want to go over these other documents very thoroughly. So it's going to take a little bit more time. So I'll probably release the members only video sometime tomorrow morning. We'll see. Just give me just a little bit of time. You'll know when I drop it. I want to make this one significant because there's a lot to go over. And maybe we'll cover the rest of this document also in the next members only video. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.